Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the Hockey Podcast Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a sports betting perspective. With pro handicappers Alex B. Smith and veteran sports writer Jimmy Murphy. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network, Tuesday, March the 1st. Yeah, March. Unbelievable. Felt like February just came and went, but it's gone, and March is here. Ready to break down the Tuesday NHL card here on a Tuesday. It is a big Tuesday, and because it's Tuesday, you know what it is. It's a BetCast Tuesday. Tonight, we're at it again with another live Ice Guys BetCast, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. We have 9 games in NHL action tonight, and what I love about the schedule tonight for our BetCast is we've got staggered start times. We've got 4 games at 7 p.m. Eastern. You got 2 sprinkled in at 8 p.m. Eastern. You got a 9 p.m. Eastern game, and then you got 2 late games at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. So it is a really well-constructed NHL schedule tonight. So it's going to keep things basically going for the rest of for the entire night. Like, there's really not going to be that dead zone, or that dead period like we had last week where we had the 4 early games and then we had the late games at 10. We had nothing in between. So there's really going to be constant hockey action pretty much throughout the course of the night. So we're definitely looking forward to it tonight. Another Ice Guys BetCast. And a reminder, we're doing these Tuesday night, every Tuesday the rest of the season. So looking forward to it. As always, you can tune in live on YouTube for the BetCast. And if you want to join me, members of the crew, and several members of our viewing and listening audience on the BetCast, send a DM to me or anybody associated with the Ice Guys, and we will send you a link to appear on the BetCast with us tonight. So looking forward to it at 7 p.m. Eastern. But before we get to there, we have a Tuesday card to break down right now, and we'll start with the Ottawa Senators taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay minus 390. Home favorites in this game. The total 6 shaded to the under pretty much across the board in this one. As far as this game goes, we've got the Tampa Bay Lightning, obviously significant favorites here for a very good reason. Not only obviously are they the better team in the matchup, but certainly there are some issues going through Ottawa right now. The flu has been running through the team a little bit the last few days. It's really taken a bite out of this group. And it looks like because of it, you're going to see potential for some absences, or if players play through it, you could see a situation where they're playing at less than 100%. Certainly DJ Smith said after the Montreal game on Saturday night that he felt his team really did an admirable job gutting through that game, through the flu bug running through the team just a little bit. So, it'll be interesting to see how much stamina Ottawa's got in them tonight. I know it looks as of right now like Thomas Chabot, who was one of those people impacted with that flu situation and didn't play on Saturday. That's the reason he was the late scratch right before the opening puck drop of that game. And also Nikita Zaitsev on the blue line, defenseman for the Senators, was also battling it. So they only had 13 forwards and 5D available in that game. So they basically essentially played the game shorthanded. So it definitely is something that would concern you a little bit going into this game tonight with the Lightning and the Senators from an Ottawa standpoint. Definitely shorthanded, definitely won't be at full strength going into this game. Tampa Bay gets the victory in the Stadium Series outdoor game Saturday night in Music City. They give up the first goal, but they battle back. They scored pretty quickly, 2 goals early in the second period. Pretty much didn't look back from that point. Nashville made it close, made it interesting in that late in the game to make it 3-2. But that was as close as they would get. Tampa Bay holds on for the victory there in that outdoor game. We'll see how they fare here now. Is there a potential for maybe this being a flat spot for Tampa? I'm not sure. Obviously it was a thrill playing in the outdoor game. The first time the Tampa Bay Lightning franchise had played in an outdoor game Saturday night in Nashville. Can they maintain focus here for this matchup against the Ottawa Senators remains the biggest question I guess you have to ask. Tampa Bay, they've won 4 in a row. Like I say, I mean, the Nashville win was probably the best win of the bunch. Edmonton was a pretty solid win too, but I thought they got outplayed in that game and really got the game basically gift wrapped for them by some pretty shoddy goaltending from Mike Smith in that game. We've talked about that a lot, how Edmonton played pretty well that night, and the goaltending was less than stellar, allowing Tampa to win that game. Before that, they beat Jersey and Arizona. We'll see how they fare here against Ottawa. I will say this about the Senators. Historically, when they've played Tampa Bay, they've actually given this team some fits, in the past. Can they keep it? Can it be that way again here tonight against Tampa Bay, despite the fact that they're a little bit shorthanded? That's the big question here. I have the slightest of leans to the over in this game, simply because we're talking about two starting defensemen potentially missing again for the Ottawa Senators, Shabbat and Zaitsev. And usually that's going to be an issue here. I'm seeing Andrew McInnis in our, can I get a link to join? I thought I sent it, Andrew. What the hell's going on here? All right, let me just correct that right now. Okay, apparently my colleague who's supposed to be here apparently never got the link. All right, so we'll see if we can correct that now. I did send it a few minutes ago, but there we go. All right, so maybe we'll see Andrew now. Anyway, small lean to the over here, Ottawa and Tampa Bay, and because of the injuries for Ottawa on the back end, that's definitely not what you want to have here in this kind of a matchup here facing the Tampa Bay Lightning. As far as props go in this game, when you look at the potential, this is not going to be a huge prop game for me, especially on the Ottawa side. This is not a team that is scoring goals at the moment, the Senators. You look at the last few games that they've played. We've seen a lot of games where they've been pretty much shut down. The last 9 games, they had those back-to-back shutout losses. They did score 4 against Washington, although I believe 1 was an empty net. Scored 2 against St. Louis, 3 against Buffalo, 2 against Boston, 1 against the Rangers. Did beat Minnesota at home and scored 4 goals in that game. And then obviously dealing with the flu Saturday night against Montreal, only scoring 1 goal, losing to the Canadiens 2-1. So probably you'd have to look more toward Tampa if you're going to be looking at props here in this game tonight. You look at the last few games, who's been red hot. I'll tell you what, shots on goal props, if you're into those, you got to take Nikita Kucherov at this point. 8 of the last 10 games, he's gone over 3.5 shots on goal. He has been a shooting dynamo for the Tampa Bay Lightning of late. And like you say, you've only got to lay, and when you look at the percentages and the fact that 8 of the last 10 games, Nikita Kucherov go over that shot prop, which, and I'm talking about over 3.5 shots. He's gone over in 8 of the last 10, and yet you only have to pay -110. I think that's a great bet tonight for that shots on goal for Kucherov in this game. So that's definitely a prop I'm targeting here tonight with the Sens and the Lightning. We've got Andrew now. Apparently, he never got the link the first
time.
Come
on, man.
Why the hell that was? I know. It's I don't know what Twitter DM does sometimes. Like I see that the first time I sent you the link and it's there, and apparently you never saw it or never.
Wait, you can see
it now.
You sent me one before?
Yep. Oh yeah, I always do.
And you can see it in the group chat that we're in?
Yep, I see Tuesday NHL Ice Guys link right there. Boom. Like
weird.
Minutes ago I sent it, but that's all right. You're here now.
Well, I just want you to sincerely know I was actually probably earlier today than I've been in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So of all days for me to be on time, definitely a funny day, but I knew you'd be around. I hopped on YouTube and here we are. So looking forward to tonight's card, Ian. It was a 3-game slate yesterday, but a profitable one.
Yep.
I was happy about it. Got my Bruins best bet in, hit the over in the Devils Vancouver game. And boy, those overs are nice to hit halfway through a game. So feeling good. Good start to the week. Let's try and do it again today.
Yeah, no kidding. That game was just there's so many games that we have the bet cast tonight. I wasn't planning on recapping last night, but that New Jersey game was a cash cow for me. I mean, every pregame bet cash, the 2 totals, the full game over. The bigger bet for me was New Jersey team total over, which was also my best bet, and it got there. And my God, that was a prop cashing wizardry for me in that game. I'll never have a game like that from a props perspective again in a very long time. Sharon Govich at +300 goal scorer prop. Jesper Bratt to score a goal, which we loved, and over 1.5 points on Jesper Bratt, which was +225. Hughes, I took over 1.5 points at +200. And we're talking New Jersey in a few minutes. We're going to be looking at a lot of those same players tonight in that game, but we'll get to that in a minute. Andrew, what are your thoughts on this first game that we're breaking down here for this Tuesday slate? Ottawa, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the odds here, minus 410. That's what it's up at now. Or you've seen it moving around a little bit, minus 390 on the screen. But I've seen upwards of 410, 400. It's obviously a huge price. And you take a look at some of the games Senators have played recently. And when I was looking at this card last night, I'll be honest, I didn't spend a ton of time on this game, but you look at the Ottawa team and they always get up for these games. If you take a look at what they do, they love to play shocker. They love to play upset and compete against some of these teams that might take them a little bit lightly. And you look at the teams that Tampa Bay has played recently, with Nashville and an Edmonton team and a Colorado mix in the bag in there as well. You think that you might be able to get a letdown spot there at some point. And I've been trying to track these for some of these high, value teams. And you take a look at this Ottawa team, though, and you look at Norris still being out, obviously Pinto's out, Batherson's still out, and Zaitsev questionable, and there's just too much worrisome for me. Too many worries. I look at this Tampa Bay Lightning team, and what I kind of want to do in this one is take a look at the first period over. I think we're going to see goals from both teams. I wouldn't be shocked to see both teams to score first period. I think that just like we've been seeing a lot of times, we could see Ottawa have a good first period. And as that game progresses, as all the skill comes out and we have 60 minutes to exemplify what these teams are capable of, then it could turn into a rout and be a 4-1 game, 4-2 game. So I think the first period over is the best play for me. And it's a small bet I've made for tonight.
Good stuff. All right, we move on to New Jersey and Columbus. Columbus minus 115, home favorites, 6.5 the total. It isn't often you see the team that is playing on the back-to-back situation here end up getting this bet this heavily, but that's what we've seen here. Columbus opened minus 150. Now they're down to minus 115 here in this game tonight against the New Jersey Devils at home. As far as we see with the lineup situation, there are some key injuries for the Columbus Blue Jackets going into this game. Obviously, the good news is they've recently got Elvis Merzlikins back in net for the Jackets, which is good. And look, he didn't play that badly. First time in a while, maybe a little rusty against Pittsburgh. I actually thought he played all right. Not much he could have done about a lot of the goals that were scored in that game. For the Pittsburgh Penguins, but he's back in net for the Columbus Blue Jackets. But you look at the blue line situation, we've got another, just like with Ottawa, where Shabbat and Zaitsev both might be out tonight. For Columbus, you've got a cluster absence potential along the blue line tonight with Boquist injured, Zach Werenski also potentially out for this game tonight for Columbus. So you've got definitely some major concerns. In fact, both of those guys are indeed for sure going to be out for Columbus tonight. So you're going to be dealing with some depth concerns along the blue line going into this game tonight for the Jackets. It looks like it's going to be Gavrikov, Peak, Carlson, Kukin, Bayreuther, and Jake Christensen's going to draw into the lineup. They've got 3 regulars out, and Boquist and Werenski are certainly 2 of the defensemen they count on. So this could be trouble tonight. A little bit along the defensive line for the blue line for the Columbus Blue Jackets here. Columbus, though, every night, though, they've been pretty competitive. I like the effort against the Pittsburgh Penguins the other night. They have lost 2 in a row, so is there signs that this team might be about to cool off? Carolina, Pittsburgh, back-to-back losses for the Jackets. Still, even with those losses, this team is 7-3 in their last 10 games, which is still pretty good overall. On the flip side, you got New Jersey rolling in here off the high of a 7-2 beatdown last night over the Vancouver Canucks. I mean, Yaroslav Halak, as I said on Twitter, was Yaroslav shellacked last night in net. Just not very good, although the team in front of him was just as bad. Not all of it was his fault, but just a horrible defensive game from the Canucks, turnovers. And one thing New Jersey is showing you, now that they're fully healthy, and I've been beating this drum now for a week on this show, they're going to score. All right, they're going to score goals. This is a talented group up front. Jack Hughes is healthy. Nico Hischier is healthy. Andreas Jansson's healthy. Jesper Bratt's healthy. They get Dougie Hamilton, their best puck-moving, offensive-minded defenseman, back last week as well. He scores a goal last night as well for the Devils. So this is definitely a spot where, for me, I'm riding the Devils team total once again. 3.5 plus money. No issues taking that whatsoever here in this game. Even with Merzlikins in net, you look at what the Devils have done. 3 games since they had that 1 week break, and they got everybody healthy, specifically Hamilton and Bratt. Those were the two main ones they got back, the two biggest catalysts for this team. And they've scored 6, 8, and 7. Pretty damn impressive. Obviously, there's going to be some scoring regression on the way. You're not going to score 21 goals in every 3-game span for the rest of the season like they have the last 3 games. But I think they're capable of getting to at least 4 goals here. You know what's funny is this team total initially was 2.5. And actually, I got it at 2. I actually got 2.5 minus 150 on the team total when I bet it this morning. It's now 3.5. It's moved, actually, this team total. It's moved because of the New Jersey movement to 3.5 now at a plus price. And I like that just as much. You know, I definitely think they get 3. I definitely think they get 3. I think they absolutely get 4 goals minimum as well, because I just think this offensive team, now that we've seen all the artillery and all the hands on deck essentially for the Devils, you see what this team is capable of offensively. And I'm not stopping there with the Devils team total. We like the full game over as well, because I do think Columbus is going to chip in offensively. It looks like it's back to John Gillies, or it looks like it will be. Nico, it hasn't been confirmed yet, because look, Nico, that's 2 starts in a row. Nico Dawes has given up just 2 goals, Pittsburgh and Vancouver last night. So they may be starting to find something with this young kid, and maybe someone finally giving them some saves for this New Jersey team. But I still have my doubts whether he'll be in net on a back-to-back like this. They might still go to John Gillies. So for that reason, still like the over 6.5 in this game as well. And from a player prop standpoint, you know where we're going. Jesper Bratt once again to score, you know, at another near plus 200 price. You've got Jesper Bratt over 1.5 points. I think it's worth a bet again. And especially Jack Hughes over 1.5 points, which again was plus 200 last night against Vancouver. You can get pretty close to that same price here tonight. Jack Hughes over 1.5 points for the Devils. He's now had 4 straight multi-point games for the New Jersey Devils. Very impressive. You see, he's got that puck on a string right now, playing with extreme confidence. And again, 4 straight games of 2 points or more for Mr. Hughes for the New Jersey Devils. So this is going to be one of those games, kind of like last night's New Jersey game, where we're involved in a lot of different avenues from a betting standpoint. Jimmy's with us now. Jimmy Murphy, what do you think here, New Jersey, Columbus?
Hey, guys, how you doing?
Good.
Yeah, you know, look, guys, you nailed it last night. I mean, that was one of those great situational spots for New Jersey. Vancouver coming in feeling great. And I think just completely overlooking them and realizing that they're still the Vancouver Canucks and not really a legitimate playoff contender. So good call by you guys there. As for today, tonight with this, I mean, I love the first period over. It's just the value is just, you know, I'm looking at what, minus 185 in most places here. That's tough, but I'm still going to go with that. I'm going to take the first period over there. I'm going to take the full over. And I'm going to ride your Jesper Bratt. You know, like he's been the man for them right now. And I'm also going to throw a little prop on Jack Hughes, 2 points or more.
Did you see that twisted wrister he had last night
Wow.
for the New Jersey Devils? That was one hell of a shot. I mean, and I know it wasn't Halak's night and the defense wasn't good, but there's no defense or goaltender that could have done anything about that Jesper Bratt shot. That guy's release is terrific. You can absolutely shoot a puck, that guy. And boy, has he been shooting the puck and connecting with it the last several games.
I don't know what broadcast you or feed you guys had, but I was listening, I believe. Actually, I was on the NHL one where they do the on the fly and they're jumping in. So it must have been the New Jersey feed they're picking up, because they usually pick up the home one. And they had an interesting stat with Jarro Halak this year that when Jarro Halak is in net and the team is killing off a penalty, his save percentage is only like 656 versus Demko's, who is like 9 something.
Wow.
657.
But I want to say this, because
that's ugly.
If you look at the numbers for Demko versus Halak this year, obviously Halak is like superior goaltender. He's the number 1 guy and everything like that. But I think that of every single team in the National Hockey League,
You mean Demko is?
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah, obviously Demko is the superior.
Yeah, Halak is definitely not superior right now.
But let's not get it twisted here. Out of every single team in the league, which team has given their backup goaltender the worst games to play in? Vancouver.
The Canucks. I agree.
Every single, that game last night is the worst. That was, let down spot.
But Andrew, that's his job.
No, I understand. I
That's
understand
why
that.
goalies get shitty spots, Andrew.
I'm
That's just the way it is.
No,
Yeah,
I
it
understand
is.
that. But what I'm trying to say is that that's tied in. It has to be tied into some of the numbers. It has to be, because you look at these backups and people will say like, look at the record this guy has. It's like, yeah, because he plays in every game when it's 4 games and 6 nights. They're tired. They're playing shitty.
But that's what backups do. That's what they're paid to do, is come in those spots and provide the saves they need.
No, I know, but
like the shitty situation, man. And I'm telling you right now, from knowing Halak and knowing at least what his Bruins teammates thought of him, they didn't like him. And
I'm not getting personal with the guy. I'm just saying
that I'm going to get personal with it right now, and that's where I was going with this whole difference. Well, I'm just trying to tell you guys, next time he's in net, don't just not bet against him. I mean, not bet on him because of the situation you're talking about, Andrew. Don't bet on him, because I'm telling you, this guy is not well liked. Last year, you can go back and find it on YouTube. There was a game where he let in a goal against the Rangers, I think, and he flung the puck at his own teammates at the Bruins bench in protest and was yelling to them. You could see him swearing at them on the ice. All right? So what I'm trying to tell you,
but you get what I'm saying, though. I get what you're saying.
I get what you're saying, but I also think this is a matter of these guys don't want to play in front of him. They don't like him. They don't get up to play in front of him, and they don't have that urgency and that desire to play in front of him. I'm telling you right now, and I don't have the stats in front of me of anyone else who's backed up Demko this year, but I bet if we went and looked that the stats of who was backing him up when Halak was out for a while. What was the guy's name?
It was Spencer Martin.
Yeah, Spencer Martin. Yeah, he played well. He played pretty well.
He did.
There you go.
They played their butts off in front of him. I remember that too. Yeah. They played hard. The
young goaltender, though, fresh in the league. This is
nothing to do with a backup being thrown into a shitty situation, Andrew. This is something to do with that team is not playing for him. Period.
Okay, yeah, that could definitely be a valid point. You're acting like I'm a Halak super fan here. All I'm saying is the team didn't play well as well. That's all I'm saying. Like yesterday, I would never be a guy to blame a goal on a goaltender in a 2-on-1. Very rarely will I ever blame a goal on a goaltender when it's a 2-on-1, when Ekman Larson gives the puck up, 2-on-1, boom, Jack Hughes kicks the night off, 3, 4, 5 more goals. I mean, Halak played awful, but the team played horribly in front of him as well. And that's my whole point, is that to Jimmy's point, that's their job, is to come in, be a backup in those bad situations. But it's also the player's job to not have 2-on-1s happening every 3 minutes. I had the over, Jimmy. I'm happy, buddy. I was pumped.
Yeah. I'm just saying, too, though, if you look at it from this perspective, too, though, Andrew, you're talking about a bad situation and playing so many games in a short time. Who's going to be more tired out there? The players in front of Halak or Halak? Halak's been sitting on his ass for the last 4 games. If anything, he's got the most energy out of anybody on the team. So that's why I'm not trying to knock you. I just respectfully disagree, because I think it's sort of a fallback excuse for Halak when I don't think he deserves one in this situation. This guy is a proven goaltender in the NHL. They went out and they gave him a good amount of money to come in and be their backup, and he hasn't done the job. And I think it's because he's become a whiny little bitch, to be frank. Yeah. I mean, I know that he complained nonstop when he was here in Boston about his situations that he came into. Exactly what you're talking about there. He didn't like coming in when it was, 4 games and 6 nights, and he's got a tired team in front of him. And they're like, well, dude, that's your job. Shut up.
Goalie. They get the mop up.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that. Growing up as being a Canadiens fan, right? I think best goalie in the world. So obviously, whoever that number 2 is, whoever that's been over the past, 10 years, 15 years, whoever it is, your job is when it's a tough situation and when Price has the night off, is to come in and step up and play. That's always been the thing. But I knew growing up, oh shit, it's a backup in. The Habs just played Friday and Sunday. Now it's Monday night.
Insane.
I was like, damn, this backup's gonna get torched, and you know what I mean?
Thank God they chose Price over Halak, though, huh?
That's 2 games in a row, by the way.
Can you believe some people actually said they should have chose Halak?
They still do.
Oh my God, man.
At the time, it was pretty crazy to say that at the time.
Alan Walsh
even with Halak playing well,
forever, right?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, it's his agent, so
yeah.
Halak.
Yeah, I think last year he had some tweet about Price and Halak.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
And then Price, of course, single-handedly.
I'm not going to criticize Alan Walsh too much. He goes above and beyond the call of duty for his clients and his players.
I actually got to meet him in Halifax in the press box. He's Drouin's agent, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
He's an agent of a lot of guys, and he goes over above and beyond the call of duty for them. So that's one thing. He'll work hard for you if you're a player and you've got
on
him
Twitter too. He'll work hard for you.
Work hard and live in an alternate reality.
Yeah. But yeah, that's 2 starts in a row, and we'll move on because we got to get going. But Yaroslav Halak, that's 2 starts in a row. He's been pulled, by the way. So there may be something to that he's not playing well, but they just don't have the same, juice in front of him, to play with him in net for some reason, because he got yanked against the Islanders on February 9th. They gave up 5 goals in that game on just 12 shots. And here we are last night, 6 goals on 14 shots. So it's been tough, but you can't play Demko every single game the rest of the way. You're going to wear him out. You've got to either go back to Halak at some point, or if you don't like the way he's playing, bring Spencer Martin back up. Give him a shot, in a backup role. We might be getting to that point pretty soon. Like if Halak has another bad start or 2 in a backup role for this Vancouver team moving forward, you might be seeing Spencer Martin again. Andrew, what did you think of this game here, New Jersey Columbus?
Yeah, short and simple. Look, I'm gonna go with the over here. Yesterday I kind of liked the over because the Devils were playing well, but it was also a horrible spot for Vancouver. Now we have a Devils team playing their 4th game in 6 days. Columbus team, looking back at the past week and a half, they've been putting up goals and, not just against poor competition, but against some decent competition. So I'm on the over 6.5. I think both teams will contribute here.
All right, over 6.5 here for Andrew with the Devils and the Blue Jackets. Like I said, this is a great props game, so you definitely know we'll have our eyes on it on the BetCast. Hughes, Laine, Bjorkstrand, Sharon Govich, you have to. All right, you have to bet him again. Plus 310 with what he's done the last few games. He's finding the back of the net as well routinely. This is a great props game. It's probably going to be one of the games I'm actually focused on most when we do the early part of our BetCast tonight, this Devils and Jackets game, because it's definitely going to have a lot of wagering action, a lot of tickets written up for this Devils and Jackets game for me here on this Tuesday slate. All right, we got Edmonton and Philadelphia now. Next up, Oilers minus 155, road favorite, 6.5 the total in this one. Philadelphia Flyers starting to, show some life a little bit, slowly but surely. I mean, you look at the last, I would say, 5 games, they took Pittsburgh to overtime. In fact, they led that game and let it slip away and lost in overtime. They played Washington about 2 weeks ago. That game was 3-2 Philly. In the 3rd period, and then 3 unanswered goals for Washington to win it 5-3. They took Carolina to overtime in a game they actually dominated statistically, but Martin Jones was Mr. Beach Ball, letting those in, and 4-3 to Carolina. And St. Louis 4-1, but a misleading final score because it was 2 empty net goals. Other than that, they were right in the game against a pretty good Blues team. And then, of course, the last game against Washington, they finally get off that schneid of that 6-game losing streak and beat the Capitals, albeit the slumping Washington Capitals right now 2-1. So this has been a more competitive outfit lately, the Flyers, and you're seeing some signs of life. This is not a team that's completely rolled over, packed the tent, folded the tent, and gone home this year. Their effort's been good of late. Edmonton rolls in. Obviously, they've gone 1-2 so far on this road trip. Not surprisingly, they've lost the Mike Smith starts, Tampa Bay and Carolina. They won the Mikko Koskinen start, though, 4-3 against Florida. And it was one of those games where you're watching Mikko Koskinen, who's going to be in net tonight, by the way, for the Oilers. You watch him against Florida and you think, why can't this guy be more like this consistently? I mean, it was just a goaltending tour de force against Florida. The guy was incredible. Like, he's making these acrobatic saves, post to post, getting across the crease, lightning-like glove saves multiple times. I mean, is this Mikko Koskinen here? And he just delivered when the Oilers needed him to against Florida. Because, to be honest, Florida had a bunch of shots and chances Saturday afternoon, but Mikko Koskinen held the fort time and time again. And now he's going to be in net tonight, and he's on a nice roll right now, 6-0-1 in his last 7 starts and a 2.63 goals against average. So we'll see if he can keep it rolling here. Hart's going to be in net likely for the Flyers. He was magnificent himself as well against the Washington Capitals. I thought he played a great game as well Saturday afternoon. And, I think if you look at Carter Hart, there's still a good goalie, in this guy. It's just he needs a team that's going to be a little bit better in their own zone in front of him. And he needs to get a little bit more consistent, because you see he has that brilliant effort against Washington. And then before that, he gives up a 5-spot to Pittsburgh, and he gives up 3 to Detroit and 5 to Detroit. But then before that, he gives up 1 in a win against Winnipeg. So, it's one of those up and down inconsistencies Carter Hart is battling. But we'll see how it goes here in this one. But definitely when I look at this game here with Edmonton and Philly, I look at this as a matchup where I think if you're the Oilers with Koskinen in net, he's going to give you your best chance right now. Mike Smith has had some tough times the last few starts. The Carolina game, he wasn't that bad, actually. But the Tampa Bay game, I'm going to go back to that, where they lost 5-3. I keep thinking he makes some of those saves where the puck's just going right through him in that game, and it might have been a different result for the Oilers in that Tampa Bay Lightning game. So I would lean Edmonton here, but there's something about this price. I mean, I'm disappointed it's as high as it is, because I don't want to sell Philly short. This team is still fighting the good fight for a team that's had just a dreadful season, and it's not like Edmonton's ever a sure thing laying this kind of wood on the road. I guess I'd have probably will have a small bet on Edmonton in regulation, but it's nothing significant, because I do respect and acknowledge what the Flyers have done the last few games. They have definitely been more competitive. They've been in pretty much every game recently, and you do have to give them some level of credit for that. All right, Jimmy, what do you think here? Oilers taking on the Flyers.
Let me get right back. Sorry about that, guys. Look, this is one of those games. I'm going to pass. It's going to be one I might jump in live. It just feels like a trap for me for the Oilers. It really does. I can't get a good feeling on it, and I sort of I want to bet the Oilers, but it's kind of got that little sick feeling in my stomach, like don't do it. So I'm going to listen to that little gut feeling right now, and maybe jump in on some plays on the live bets, and hopefully when I can jump in on the betcast tonight.
Yeah, great. And the thing that concerns me too is this is a big situational edge for Philly. They've been off since Saturday. They've played this is only their third game in the last week for the Philadelphia Flyers. So they are a rested team. They should have energy. Whereas you look at it for Edmonton here going into this game, this is going to be their fourth game in a shorter period of time. So, and again, at the end of this road trip as well, actually they have one more game at Chicago after this on Thursday, and then they go home. So you do have to watch out for that little scheduling situation as well. The one thing I would go back to the well with here in terms of a prop or two in this game, you can take a look definitely at Zach Hyman over shots and Zach Hyman to score a goal. 7 of the last 10, he's gone over the shots on goal prop, and he has scored for the Edmonton Oilers in 6 of the last 10 games, as well as 3 of the last 5 games for the Edmonton Oilers. So he continues to be the player to target for me on this Oilers team. Andrew, what do you think here, Oilers and Flyers?
It's always tough taking an under with an Oilers team, and sometimes even the Flyers team, that can be a little unreliable defensively, but I think I like the under 6.5 here. And this, I'll be honest, this is not one that I've locked in yet here. This is just my betting recommendation for the game. If I was to play it, if I end up playing it, you look at that game that Edmonton came off of against Carolina, who's a very talented defensive team. That's what I love so much about them. And it's why I think they're going to be a great playoff team. But Philadelphia, they've been kind of playing the trap style of hockey. I mean, they're not really, maybe it's not even on purpose, but it looks to me like they're working hard defensively and kind of the bend don't break mindset, and not really playing the run and gun style of hockey. And to me, when I see a 6.5 here, I see an Edmonton team that could be a little fatigued, but I think that fatigue might not affect them as much defensively this time around, more so just offensively, and we could see a decent defensive battle. So at 6.5, I'd lean towards the under here.
Yeah, I'd be with you on that too, Andrew. If there was one thing I would bet pregame, it would be that under. Guys, quickly too, I know you already went over it, but I'll give you my bet on Tampa and Ottawa.
Yep.
I'm loving the dogs here. Give me the Ottawa Senators. Let down city for the Tampa Bay Lightning after the big win in Nashville.
Yeah, possibly. I might sprinkle Ottawa first period. I don't know if I trust them to win the end. The flu is running through the team a little bit right now, which does concern me a little bit.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that is the one thing that does concern me a little bit. And Zaitsev and Shabbat, 2 starting defensemen out. So, but I agree, it's not a spot. I have no interest in Tampa Bay at any number, at any price in this spot. But Ottawa does have their issues with the flu bug running through the team.
And I don't know if you heard John Cooper after the game, what he told TNT. After they won, and he's sitting there and he's in a scally cap and he says, "Look out, Broadway, here we come." So I'm guessing, at least maybe for the coach, because I can tell you guys, once you hit about 30, the hangover hits you on the second day.
Yeah.
So, or the third day. So I'm guessing at least the coach is still feeling the repercussions of a nice night out in Nashville after that game.
That reminds me of Pete DeBoer after the All-Star game. That was so funny. He looked so hungover. It was hilarious.
Oh, he said it. Didn't he say it?
Yeah.
He flat out said I'm hungover, I think. Yeah. So
you got to let them enjoy themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
John Cooper is pretty professional, though, so I'm sure he'll be fine tonight. You won't see him stumbling and falling off the stoop there on the bench there.
He
I think
strikes me more as a wine guy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He might, but yeah, I mean, Nashville, by the way, is one heck of a party city. That downtown area.
Sure. And from what I heard that a lot of those guys, they stuck around. Like Aaron Ward was on TSN 690 yesterday in Montreal, and he was saying that Tampa stayed an extra day.
Yep.
So they really got into some trouble. Yeah. They do. I don't know. Who knows what's going on?
I'll tell you what, I'd love to go to Nashville.
Yep.
Have you ever been, Jimmy?
Yep. Great place.
I'd love to go there. That'd be a fun boys trip.
Yes, it would, boys.
I'm not even a big country fan, and I'd want to go there at some point.
Oh, it's
great. And like I say, I'm not at all a country fan.
We'll add that to the Ice Guys bucket list.
Yeah.
But I hear great, things about just what you can do, party-wise. The entertainment district, if you will, of that city is pretty damn impressive. So
I heard you can just walk into a bar and you could actually see someone like relatively up and coming, just performing.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how it is. Every bar is just live music. You just walk in and out, no cover charges. So
that's where all the country.
No Hurleys though, Jimmy?
Well, Matty Ice going to Nashville Thursday. Enjoy yourself then.
There you go, buddy.
Have fun, Matt. Matt Randall going to Nashville on Thursday. Great stuff.
Gotta go to Tootsie's.
Yeah. We're going to a little bit less glamour city for our next game on the card. Detroit, Motor City. Carolina Hurricanes, Detroit Red Wings.
What a segue.
Yeah, great segue. That was a good one. Sometimes they're hit or miss. That one was a hit apparently with the masses. Carolina minus 200, road favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. Of course, for Detroit, they haven't played since that football game that broke out at Little Caesars Arena on Saturday night. 10-7 it was. Them and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Just really wild third period. Looked like the Leafs were going to just hammer the Red Wings. They were up 7-2 at one point. It gets to 7-6. But then the Leafs, get the train back on the tracks. They end up winning 10-7 in that game. That was a crazy game. It's a wild game. When Nedeljkovic gets pulled, they put Greiss in, and then Greiss gets pulled, and Nedeljkovic is back in. That's what we saw for the Detroit Red Wings on Saturday night. It was just an absolutely insane hockey game there. Nedeljkovic is back in tonight for the Detroit Red Wings and facing his old team, the Carolina Hurricanes. So definitely will be amped up for that. Will he play better? He better, because I'll tell you what, it was a lot of horrible defending by the Red Wings, but at the same time, it wasn't exactly great goaltending either from Nedeljkovic. Can he bounce back? That ends up being the big question here. For Carolina, they've won 5 in a row, but man, this spot stinks to high heaven for them. They got Washington next up, division game, Pittsburgh next up, rivalry game. Team that, they're going to be probably battling in the playoffs potentially. And you've got Detroit here. It's not exactly a situation that screams, let's lay minus 200 with the Carolina Hurricanes in this game. They did beat Detroit 5-3 in the one meeting back in December earlier this year. Although it is worth mentioning here, this is a very, very interesting stat here when you look at these two teams head-to-head in Detroit. The last 3 head-to-head meetings in Detroit since January of last year, 4-2 Detroit, 2-1 Carolina, 4-2 Detroit. Detroit's definitely given Carolina some trouble here in this matchup. I like Detroit's team total here over 2.5 a lot. I really do, especially with Antti Raanta in net for the Carolina Hurricanes. And I'm not trying to disparage Antti Raanta. He's a capable goalie, but he's not what Frederik Andersen's been for this team this year. Not quite at that level. And you look at his last 2 starts at Pittsburgh, 3 goals allowed. At Ottawa, 4 goals allowed. 3 or 4 will do the trick here for this Detroit Red Wings team total over. That's probably what I'm going to look at. I don't know if I want to trust Detroit to win the game. You know what I mean? Carolina is on a roll, playing great hockey. They're obviously the better squad, even though it's not the greatest spot. I just feel more comfortable. I could sprinkle on the money line. This might be something I do on the betcast later. We'll see. But definitely I like Detroit team total over 2.5 here. Good number, good price, good spot, good situation for Detroit. I think as they try to make amends for the debacle against Toronto Saturday night, and we'll see if Nedeljkovic can bounce back as well. But I feel like the Red Wings on their home ice can get to 3 goals tonight in this game. And it is worth noting as we go into this game, Detroit scored 3 against the Rangers, scored 4 against Minnesota, 4 against Philly, 6 against Philly, 3 against LA. Other than 5-2 to Colorado they lost prior to the Toronto game, this team's been pretty consistent at being able to score at least 3 goals. So hoping that's the case once again tonight. Jimmy, what do you think here? Hurricanes, Red Wings?
Yeah, this is another one too, right? Kind of had a little trap feeling to it. But I'm going to stay away from the side right now and go with the under here, guys. I just, looking at those scores you just ripped off in the last few times there in Detroit with these 2 teams, I'm imagining the under wasn't, it could have been 5.5 in 1 or 2 of those games. I'm not sure, but I like the under here.
Liking the under here, under 6 for I could see the under. Like, even though I like the Red Wing team total, I could still see the under being a way to go here in this. You look at Detroit, I'm looking at the series history now. The last 5 meetings, they've scored 4, 5, 3. The one game they got held to 1, and then they scored 3 in Carolina earlier this season back in December. So it's a lot of evidence that points you to, hey, maybe Detroit can get you 3 goals tonight. I think they can in this spot. Andrew, what do you think here, Carolina, Detroit?
Pass here, nothing for me this game.
All right, we move on now to the next one. It is Calgary and Minnesota. Teravainen over shots on goal continues to be a good bet, by the way, from a prop standpoint. No question about that. Raymond and Larkin probably for goal scorer props on the Detroit side as well. But I'll definitely be mentioning a lot of props on our betcast tonight. 7 p.m. Eastern, remember that. It's coming up tonight. Calgary, Minnesota. We've got Calgary now, minus 125, road favorites, 6.5 the total in this one. Boy, it's a lot of money on Calgary in a home-and-home series, in a revenge spot for Minnesota after that was a horrible. And look, Minnesota's not playing well. I get it. It's not easy to back them right now. And Cam Talbot has been announced as the starting goalie, and he has definitely hit a wall lately. He's not played well for the Minnesota Wild compared to earlier this season. Minnesota just 1-5 in the last 6 games. I said on Twitter Saturday night, I hope Terry's not having a panic attack watching this a brutal performance tonight by the Minnesota Wild Saturday night. But definitely it feels like a Minnesota bounce back spot. And hey, they're back home in the friendly, cozy confines of XL Energy Center, where this team still, in terms of their home record this year, it's absolutely terrific. 16-5 for the Minnesota Wild on home ice this year. I would only look at Minnesota at this price now. Calgary had that debacle against Vancouver. I was asking myself, is that a sign of them going back down in a downturn again? Or is that just an anomaly? Is that just a one-off that they played so poorly against the Canucks? Well, they bounced back very impressively against Minnesota. That was a very strong game from Calgary in that 7-3 win against Minnesota. And signs that, hey, we're not going to let this become a massive losing skid. We're still a very good hockey team. We're not going to let this develop into something more than that. And you look at this Calgary team, it's everybody contributing. Johnny Gaudreau, a bounce back year. Matthew Tkachuk. Mangiapane's been absolutely outstanding. You got guys like Eric Branson scoring goals from the blue line. It's just been a collective effort right now from the Calgary Flames, and it's been very impressive to see what they've been able to do. 65 points this year for Gaudreau, 59 points for Tkachuk. Lindholm, how could I forget to mention him? 51 points. Now he's been able to score goals routinely lately. Not easy to go against this group. Markstrom in net's been magnificent. Really, he has been the last few starts, but I get the sense this is a good, bounce back situation here for the Wild. I think it's a little carried away. I mean, I understand maybe pick 'em, even money, putting this line, but now, and for as good as Calgary's played, now with them minus 125, minus 130 on the road against a team that's pretty good at home, that you would expect them to fire back strong with a strong effort. And for Talbot, this has got to be a game for him where he's got to answer the bell. He has not performed well lately. You look at his recent starts for the Wild. He gave up 4 against Ottawa, 4 against Florida, 5 against Winnipeg. It's not been pretty for Cam Talbot. Can he bounce back? I lean Minnesota. What I will bet is Minnesota first period, because the first 20 minutes, I expect them to really bring it strong. Do I trust them to win the game? Not quite as much, although it wouldn't surprise me. I just think I'd rather bank on Minnesota giving me a strong 20 minutes out of the gate, and you can get around minus 105 with Minnesota first period in this game. I think that's definitely something to look at. As far as the total goes, I'm not betting Minnesota games under at home. I'm just flat out. I'm not doing it. I won't do it. I just will not. And you know how good it's been betting Minnesota Wild games over the total on home ice. Just to reiterate, because I know I've mentioned this a bunch, 17-4 to the over on home ice this year for the Minnesota Wild in their games. But the one little small concern about just going all in on an over here tonight, Minnesota will want to clean it up defensively. It's kind of a desperation spot for Talbot if he wants to maintain a firm grasp on being the number one goalie for Minnesota. And sometimes in these back-to-back situations where it's the same two teams, the first game goes over, the second game stays under, or the first game goes under, second game goes over. Kind of the reverse happens. We do see that from time to time. So, but still, it's over or pass for me. That being said, it's still over or pass for me if I were to bet the total here. Andrew, what do you think here, Calgary, Minnesota?
I agree with you with what you said there. That's kind of a motto I try and stick with. Is I think that sometimes you might see the opposite of the first time the teams met, and also you see how important home ice was. And I don't think I'm really someone that often talks about home road splits too much, but I think with the Wild, and not just the Wild in general, but Cam Talbot, he's a different character at home here, guys. And I think the Wild at plus 105, sign me up to take them in a revenge spot as well. This is one of those Alex B. Smith, not so fast, my friend, type plays, I think, where everyone wants to line up and, keep riding the Calgary Flames to the motherland. But I don't think that they're going to win every game, and their scoring is going to get shut down at some point. And we can't forget, like you said, Ian, about how talented the Wild are. And let's not forget, exactly a week ago, we had to watch Terry and us get mad live on the Ice Guys Betcast when they lost to the Senators. And Talbot had a bad game. Now he's back at home. No more road trip. And what do we always say? Coming back from a long road trip, it's usually a fade spot. But my new motto is, it's only a fade spot if it was a successful trip. Wasn't the case for Minnesota on that road trip they had. So sign me up for the home team here.
All right, Andrew, like in Minnesota here, you can get them at plus 105. Jimmy, what do you think here, Calgary, Minnesota?
I'm with Andrew. I'm liking this. Good call, Andy. I think this is a spot for Minnesota. They need this. They really do. I mean, it's kind of been an up and down last few weeks for them. And this is a team that I think truly believes, and rightfully so, that they can contend in the Western Conference. And I think this is a gut check game for them. So give me them as a underdog in this game. And I'm also going to do a prop. Give me Kevin Fiala to get 2 or more points in this game. He's been hot lately in the points department. Hasn't scored for a couple games, but he's been producing points. He's creating offense. So give me 2 or more points for Kevin Fiala.
You know what? I'm looking at his numbers recently. He did have a couple of multi-point games against Montreal and Carolina on home ice recently, and he's collected a point, at least 1 point, in, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the last 8 home games. And in that span, he's also collected multi-point games twice. Overall, in his last 4 games, he's on a 4-game point streak for the Wild, and 2 of those games he had at least 2 points. So, and at home, in a spot where you need everybody stepping up, yeah, you could definitely see that here, Kevin Fiala. And you can get, again, with these over 1.5 points, they're worth a bet sometimes, because you're often going to have to lay minus 120, sometimes minus 150, 60, or even minus 180 with some of the best players just to score a point. you can get over 1.5 points at a really nice plus number. That's what I did with Hughes and Bratt from the Devils last night. You take that plunge that maybe they can get you 2 points, and boy, does it pay off handsomely for you if it cashes. And definitely when you look at it for Kevin Fiala, that's definitely something to consider in this game. Fiala over 1.5 points, Jimmy, plus 250. I'm seeing in some spots. That's one hell of a price.
Keep in mind too, guys. I mean, he's in a contract year, right?
Yeah.
So this is a guy that's playing for a new contract there. Who knows? I mean, I can't see that. I think the Wild are just going to ride it out, even if they can't get him locked to an extension and deal with him in the offseason. But he's still in a contract year. So this is a time when he needs to shine. All the eyes are on them as you go down the stretch run and you're positioning for the playoffs.
That's a good one, Terry. Terry knows his team, obviously, Minnesota. And you're right, Frederick Gaudreau. Freddie Gaudreau's just been a goal-scoring dynamo all of a sudden for the Minnesota Wild. And his prop to score a goal, it's up there. I mean, you bring that up, and that's value personified, plus 450 in some spots. Goals in back-to-back games against Toronto and Calgary for Freddie Gaudreau of the Minnesota Wild. He actually scored their only goal against the Leafs last Thursday night. So good find there, Terry. And I wouldn't talk you out of that one. No question. All right, we move on to Montreal and Winnipeg. Next up, we got 4 games left. Winnipeg minus 220. Home favorite, 6 the total, shaded to the under. So the Jets return home off a road trip, one which ended with a must type of win for them against Arizona. If they had lost that game after already losing to Calgary, Dallas, and Colorado, remember Colorado, they got off to that 3-0 lead, and then it was an ambush by the Avalanche in the last 2 periods of that game. If they had gone home after an 0-4 road trip, you might have, I don't want to say bury this team and, say they had no shot at making the playoffs, but boy, it would have been difficult had they not salvaged that win against Arizona. And it wasn't looking good. They were trailing going into the 3rd period, but they rescued that victory and got a 5-3 win against Arizona. And now they return home. And obviously it's a team that needs to put the wins together to get themselves back into the wild card hunt in the Western Conference. So can they do that is the question. Certainly should have motivation for Winnipeg, but they are returning home off a trip, and they're facing a Montreal team that's got lightning in a bottle right now. This group has been very, very impressive all of a sudden. Marty St. Louis got them playing hard night in and night out. He's finally, I don't know what Ducharme was doing all these months, but I'm finally seeing some team defense. I'm seeing some active sticks. I'm seeing some clearing the front of the net. I'm seeing some good body position. I'm seeing it not quite as easy to have a free path to the slot area all of a sudden against this Montreal team. And you've got to credit the teacher, Marty St. Louis, for getting that out of this team. And the one thing we didn't doubt about him when he got hired is this guy's a teacher of hockey. That's why he was teaching little kids, before getting this job. He's a very good educator, apparently, from everything I've heard and seen, Marty St. Louis. And boy, he's definitely having a positive impact on this team behind the bench. They've won 5 in a row. And like I say, a few of these wins have been against quality teams. The Blues, the Leafs. Yeah, the Islanders are down this year, but still a team that's been to the conference finals back-to-back years. Montreal beat them. Last 2 wins were Buffalo and Ottawa. Not nearly as impressive, those winning those against those 2 teams, but still, they're winning in lower scoring fashion now. 2 straight unders. 3 of the last 4 Montreal games have gone over the total, and this team could barely get an under to cash for them before the coaching change. So, they're playing better defense. The goaltending from both the Hamburglar, Andrew Hammond, who's been great in the 2 starts he's made, and even Samuel Montembeault, who had a shutout in his last start against Buffalo and actually played well against Toronto when they beat them. The goaltending's better because the team defense is better in front of their goalies. Very, very simple. It's not easy to figure that one out. So this is going to be a small bet for me on Montreal, believe it or not. I know Winnipeg needs this game. I get it. They need to find 2 points. They should pick up 2 points, in games like this. Try if they want to make the playoffs, you got to beat teams that are well out of the playoff race, like a Montreal, like they did against Arizona on Sunday. But Montreal's really been tough on Winnipeg. 5 straight head-to-head victories against the Winnipeg Jets. And it's hard to overlook that. Montreal's been a thorn in this team's side repeatedly, and you're getting one hell of a price here. So I'm going to take the plunge here. Montreal at plus 195 in some spots here. Potentially a live road underdog once again in this game. And as far as props go, Adam Lowry, I've caught on to the fact that suddenly he's one of these players that when he scores, he usually scores in bunches. He's now scored in back-to-back games for Winnipeg. He's going to be plus 450 again to score a goal tonight for the Jets. That's great value because I think he has really got his feet moving right now. He's making an impact in the offensive zone. I wouldn't talk anyone out of in terms of shots on goal and to score a goal for the Jets. Connor has been red hot. You can't not look at him. Dubois had a million chances the other night against Arizona. I think going back to the well with him for shots on goal and to score might be worth a look. And as far as Montreal goes, Cole Caulfield, you got to always consider him now whenever Montreal's playing to score a goal. So there's a few props that I would be looking at in this game. Jimmy, what do you think here, Montreal, Winnipeg?
Well, I see where you're going here, and I don't want to get in front of this Montreal Canadiens train right now. I mean, they are playing some great hockey. They, like you said, since Marty St. Louis came in, they're having fun again. They're playing as a team. They're exciting to watch. I don't think any of us could have thought we'd be saying that a month ago. And it's just been fun to watch. I know they're playing for pride right now. They're playing for jobs for next year, but you can't discredit what they're doing. It's great. And some people will say, well, look at the competition they're doing it against. I don't buy into that. I think we were all saying that kind of about the LA Kings and the Boston Bruins heading into last night. Well, the Bruins kind of said it doesn't matter who the hell we're playing. Look at us now. So I don't buy into that. I'm not going to discredit them that way. However, I'm going to stay away from this just because I just can't get a read on this Winnipeg Jets team. I really can't. They every time you think they're going to turn a corner and they don't. So I'm going to stay away from the side on this. I'm going to go to the under on this. I feel like this is going to be one of those pesky, really physical games. Just kind of almost like a playoff atmosphere, even though I know that the Canadiens aren't playing for a playoff spot. Just that type of game. Remember, too, there's a little bitterness now going on in this game. And that's why if I was going to take the side, I might lean towards Winnipeg because of what Montreal did to them in the playoffs, sweeping them and upsetting them in the second round last year to advance to the conference finals. So this might be a live bet for me, like in the game. I'll see how it's going. One thing I wish we could bet on is if Mark Scheifele is going to have to fight and if he'll fight or not, let's not forget what he did to Jake Evans in that series. And really woke the Canadiens up. And, there was a complete cheap shot, headshot to Jake Evans. And I'm interested to see if a guy like Josh Anderson goes after him and asks him to answer the bell. So that's something to watch. I know it's not something we can really bet on, but definitely something to watch.
That's true. This is the first. That's excellent points, Jimmy. It totally slipped my mind that this is the first time they've played since the playoff series last year. Remember when it was all North Division teams playing each other in the playoffs at the beginning? And yeah, Montreal sweeps Winnipeg. The Scheifele incident, of course, with Evans. We remember that from last year. Is there retribution now? Do they go after Scheifele tonight, Montreal? Who knows? I mean,
it could be 3 years or 3 months or 3 days. Teams don't forget that stuff.
No, they have long memories, man. They do.
That's true. It's interesting. So it's going to be interesting to see if they step up for him tonight and earn retribution. And, you do have some guys that are willing to drop the gloves and do that for Montreal. So we'll see how that could be a little bit heated tonight. We'll see it. Montembeault and Hellebuck, by the way, are going to be the starting goalies.
And the other thing, too, guys, I would think, too, I don't know if you saw Scheifele kind of snap at the media and say you want to get a pissing match yesterday. I mean, so you know what he's doing there. He's taking a bullet for his team. He's trying to step in front of the bus and rally his team. Yep. And so you got to wonder, does that reverberate through the Jets dressing room? I'm just really interested to see how the Jets show up out of the gate in the first 10 minutes, and then maybe I'll jump in and do something with the side. But until then, I'm gonna stay on that under.
Very telling comment from Justin in our chat, who lives in Winnipeg, obviously knows the Jets quite well. He says the city knows this team has thrown in the towel. They want Scheifele moved. They're going to be major sellers. I'm on Montreal in regulation. I can't pass up that value. And that's a Winnipeg guy saying that. So, yeah. So we'll see. You would think, in theory, Winnipeg's fired up to play this Montreal team first time since the ouster in the postseason last year. But that remains to be seen. Andrew, what do you think here, Habs Jets?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Habs tonight. I'm rolling with it. I wasn't really going to be jumping off the page to go on them tonight, but until I saw that opening number of plus 190, that's what I jumped on at least anyway.
That's hard to resist.
Yeah, if you give me a pick 'em in this game, you know who I'm taking, but at plus 190 here. Ooh, big win for the Jets against the Coyotes, you know, and they barely even beat them. There was actually upset watch for a good portion of that game until the Jets turned it on a little bit. So, yeah, I can't pass it up. And just like people say, when a team is on a streak, they're in a whole different mind, you know, and they're feeling good about themselves. They have confidence. And let's be honest, too, there's a big couple games coming up for the Montreal Canadiens against some really tough hockey teams. So, if there's one win on this West Coast road trip they'd like to think they could get, I know the teams don't think like this, but it's this one right here, you know, and Winnipeg's desperate, just like Justin was saying. I mean, they're not feeling good about themselves either, but, you know, I think that Winnipeg has struggled to score. And if Montreal plays well defensively and we get a, you know, average night from Montembeault, then I think the biggest change for the Montreal Canadiens guys has been possession. You know, they're not just like a counterattack team, so to speak. They're maintaining possession. They're cycling the puck around a lot more than they were before. And whether or not people think that matters, I think it helps with confidence, if anything. And, you know, the lines are going well. They're not really moving the lines around too much, which I like personally. So, yeah, I locked them in. Plus 190 here, guys. You guys, everybody can call me a homer all they want, but I didn't bet them that much all year. So,
I actually don't want to jinx their streak. That's why I'm not jumping on it. So. Guys, one thing I'm going to add a prop to my take on this game as well. And I can't believe you can get this value considering how well he's playing right now. Jeff Petrie to get a point is at plus 225. So give me that as well.
There you go. Just one single point. All you need too, from Petrie with that particular prop. And Petrie, by the way, he has points in 3 of the last 5 games. For Montreal, 4 points during that span. So, yeah, it's to me, the math makes sense to take a shot. You've got a guy that scored a point in 3 of the last 5 games, and you're getting plus 250. Wow, yeah,
I know
the math is in your favor. 60% should not be plus 60% over the last 5 games should not be plus 250. So, just from a value and math standpoint, you know, it's not a bad look there at all. Jeff Petrie to score. Andrew's favorite defenseman on this team, certainly earlier this year.
I'll go. I think I've been on record. I mean, you guys know I don't like the guy. I think he's a whiny little baby. But
you know who I do like? Romanov. Romanov's a beast.
But Andrew, he's still taking shots at Ducharme. Yeah. It's like, move on, man. You got the guy fired. Like, get over it. Move on. And he's still saying things yesterday. It's not a good look.
What, like when he's saying about like how our system's been better or different things,
things have changed, and it's more fun to play. And just
it's like, dude, you took like 3 penalties a game, and we're like minus $1 billion at the start of the year. Like,
and you asked out, you know, versus Josh Anderson, who says, "I want to be here for the long haul. I want to finish this contract. You know, count me in to help out in a rebuild." So that's a captain right there to me. But we'll see.
It should be interesting to see how it all unfolds with Montreal. Certainly has a very, very fascinating offseason.
Fascinating next few weeks.
Yeah, or next few weeks too. Yeah, you're right. With the absolutely, you're 100% right there. And who's going to be shipped out? What are they going to get in return?
Check Montreal Hockey Now.
Exactly. And Jimmy's on top of that now. Congrats to Jimmy, by the way, for being a big part of that Montreal Hockey Now, the lead editor, right? If that's
editor-in-chief and lead columnist and insider. Yeah, we've been doing well. We've got the clicks are going up. So it's, you know, it's just like here, guys. We just keep building and building. You know, like obviously I respect how hard you guys work with what you do here. So it's the same thing. Got to just keep working hard.
And keep building. We built, by the way, as of yesterday, we hit 2,000 YouTube subscribers for the Ice Guys channel. So 2,000. And I can remember when we first went on with the Hockey Podcast Network, we had like 600 subscribers on the channel. And just in 1 year, we've gotten to 2,000. Could you imagine what we could get to this time next year?
Yeah. And for everyone asking for Maddie in the chat room there, I saw a couple people. Guys, she's back in school. It's back to being a 10-year-old fifth grader here. So
she's done handicapping.
Yeah. We might not send maybe April vacation. We can get her back on.
That's all right. She's a special guest, and that's true. She did a great job. She's always welcome, Maddie. And some days,
guys, really, it meant a lot to her to read all your comments. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. She was the star of the show Friday. It wasn't me. It was Maddie on Friday. She did a great job. Speaking of doing a great job, we got the Colorado Avalanche in action next. They're doing a great job. They're hosting the New York Islanders. Colorado minus 280, home favorite, 6 the total. We got 3 games left. This is the game of all the games on the card. I don't have a whole lot here pregame. So of course, stay tuned to the Betcast tonight starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. We might have a little bit more for you. But this is just like, I don't trust the Islanders to beat anybody this good. Simple as that. Now, I know credit to Anaheim, or them to beating Anaheim 4-0. And friend of the show, by the way, he's busy as hell. Like, we're trying to get him back on the show as a special guest again. Grant Arnold. We had him on the show last year from Colorado. He's got his sales job. It's keeping him really busy. But he actually texted me Sunday, Ian, my biggest bet of the year tonight in the NHL, Islanders. And my jaw dropped to the floor. I almost couldn't believe it. Like, really? Of all the games and spots you could have picked, you're taking the Islanders against Anaheim tonight? Not that Anaheim's a great team, but the Islanders struggling the way they are. I mean, man, I said, that's gutsy. And sure enough, the Islanders got the victory, and no sweat, never in doubt, 4-0 against Anaheim on Sunday night. So we'll see. But now you're obviously going from that to Colorado. You can't even compare the two. The Avalanche playing great hockey, but I'm not laying this price. It's hard to find value. Pass for me. Andrew, what do you think? Islanders, Avs?
I can't believe I'm saying this really with the Islanders, but I feel like they must be feeling a little bit better than they were before. I think we're going to see an over 6. I think we could see a competitive game. I think the Islanders could give up some goals themselves, but as we've seen, Colorado's been a very up and down team with who they decide they're going to show up against. Some teams play better against bigger competition, and some teams play better against bottom feeders. And I have a pretty good stat about one team that does that later on in the show. But I think Colorado, could give up a few as well. So I'll go over 6 here.
All right, over 6 for Andrew. The Islanders are developing a very nasty Arizona Coyotes-like habit lately, though, and that's not being able to string 2 wins in a row together. Arizona's had trouble with that all year, and now the Islanders have gone 6 straight games after a win, losing the next game. 0-6 after a win in their last 6 games, the Islanders. So here we go. They win one, and they can't follow it up. And obviously, this is as tough a game to try to follow up a win as it gets with playing Colorado in Denver. Jimmy, what do you think here? New York Islanders, Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah, look, I think, unfortunately, for the rest of the NHL, that the Bruins kind of woke up, maybe a team that was getting a bit complacent a week ago there in that matinee in Boston when the Bruins just throttled the Colorado Avalanche. And, every once in a while, the great teams in the league need that. They need to just be humbled a bit. And I just got a feeling right now the Avalanche are going to go into this power mode, so to speak, and steam through some teams. And I look, you're not getting great value on them tonight, but I would look at it and say, give me the Colorado Avalanche puck line in the first period, because you can pretty much get that at even right now. And I'd also take the over 1.5 in the first period as well. Looking at that as -135. And as for a prop, I'm loving Devin Taves to score a goal in his first game against the Colorado Avalanche since he was traded to that team prior to last season.
All right, playing his former team, the Islanders, you mean? But playing his former team, exactly. And he's been great. I mean, he's found an offensive side to his game this year on the blue line as well for the Avalanche. He's been terrific, both ends of the ice. And there's a prop I do like for Colorado in this game. This is a guy that's streaky. He couldn't find the back of the net for tons of games in a row, and now he scored in back-to-back games. And even McInnis said the other day, when he starts scoring after a long slump, he can be streaky and he can get hot pretty quickly. And that's Andrei Burakovsky for Colorado. Yeah. I think that's a good one to look at. Now, back-to-back games with a goal after a long drought. I like those situations. Burakovsky goal scorer tonight for me with Colorado in that game. All right, San Jose and Vegas. Next up, we've got Vegas -240, home favorites, 5.5, 6 the total in this game. The San Jose Sharks, I'll tell you what about San Jose and Reimer, starting to come out of his little slump just a little bit the last stuff. He's played better, and you look at the shots he's faced the last 3 games, 47 against the Islanders, and he made it stand up in a 4-3 shootout win over the Islanders. The 3-1 loss to Boston, could have been worse. It could have been worse, Jimmy, if not for Reimer. Yeah. Played great.
Yeah, I mean, I learned, if you go back, you can find some of the Bruins quotes. I mean, they were all praising him, saying, look, I mean, that guy was tough. That game was a lot harder, I think, than the Bruins imagined, and that was because of Reimer.
Couldn't buy a save since Christmas break, and now the last 3 starts for Reimer. Great in a win against the Islanders. Very good in a tough loss against Boston, and great the other night against Seattle. Another game where that was 18-6 or something, 21-6 or something like that with shots on goal for the Kraken. First period Sunday night against San Jose, and Reimer is the reason that San Jose was able to win that game 3-1. Over Seattle. So he's starting to play some pretty solid goaltending. Leonard's back in net for the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas is content to play lower scoring games right now. That is clear as day. 4 of the last 5 have gone under. If I were to bet one game under the total tonight, this might be it. San Jose and Vegas. We'll see. With Reimer playing better, Vegas, they lost to Colorado 3-2. They only scored a goal in that awful loss to Arizona, 3-1. You'd think this is their spot to bounce back here. You don't love the price by any stretch of the imagination, but I still am worried about all the absences that they're dealing with right now. Martinez and Janmark and Pacioretty and Stone are both out again at the same time. Will Carrier is on the injury list now too, and he's a good depth player for them as well up front. I mean, it's just the injuries are mounting again, but they at least get Robin Leonard back. They're kind of desperate times now after back-to-back losses to Arizona and Colorado. And I don't love the puck them to win by margin right now, but I am interested maybe in Vegas in regulation. I was just hoping for better than -145, -150 with that price. But if I were to bet anything in that game, that would be it. Vegas in regulation. Andrew, San Jose, Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned earlier, I've got a little stat here. You take a look at this Vegas team. They are 49-18 their last 67 games against a team with a losing record. 49-18. This is a team that doesn't take nights off when they have an opportunity to just thump somebody. This is a team that loves to actually show up and stat pad and just absolutely bulldoze another team. And I'm going to take what I'm seeing there. I'm going to take a look at the amount of games the Sharks have played recently, the style of hockey they've been playing recently. They're a fade for me this week, looking at their schedule, and I'm ready. I mean, -1, half bet puck line, half bet money line, or even the regulation, I'm fine with. So I think that it's gotten juiced up, but it's appropriate, and I'm completely fine with it. So I think the Vegas needs to kick somebody's ass, and I think tonight that's going to happen.
They need to kick some tail, whatever term you want to use. And we'll see if they can do that tonight against San Jose. I just wish they were healthier. That to me, when you're losing 3-1 and only scoring 1 goal against Arizona with the shots they give up every night, it tells me there's some issues. So that's the one thing that I'm worried about. And San Jose, say what you will about them. They've definitely struggled since the break, but a lot of nights their effort level is there. They couldn't get a save from Reimer in a lot of games. They couldn't finish many of their chances. A lot of times they just asked Timo Meier to carry them offensively. But they're still playing hard for Bugner here late in the season. But I hear you. It's definitely a Vegas. Vegas has to try to bounce back. There's no taking it lightly tonight. You mentioned the signs of them beating bad teams means they're not taking it lightly. They better damn well not take it lightly tonight off 2 straight losses. And you would think that's not going to be the case for Vegas. They will not take this Sharks team lightly. Jimmy, what do you think here? San Jose, Vegas.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 2 here. Give me Vegas on the puck line in the first, and give me a Jimmy puck line altogether for the Vegas Golden Knights.
All right. Vegas first period, -0.5 puck line, and also Vegas full game puck line, which is -1.5 at +105. All right, before we get to our last game, DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NHL and NBA. New customers can bet just $1 on any NBA team and get $150 in free bets if they win. It's that simple. DraftKings Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet. You can still take your shot at a big payday. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes with DraftKings daily fantasy basketball contests. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code THPN. Bet just $1 on any NBA team and get $150 in free bets if they win. That's promo code THPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA and NHL. Must be 21 years of age or older. Minimum age and location requirements vary by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full list of requirements and state-specific responsible gaming resources. Void where prohibited. Minimum $5 deposit. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Download the DraftKings app. Sign up for an account. Use the promo code THPN. All right, we move on to the final game on this Tuesday night card. And it's a team that's coming off a Boston Bruin beatdown over the LA Kings last night, 7-0. Boston now try to keep it going against Anaheim tonight. We've got the Bruins minus 180, road favorite, 5.5 the total in this game. There are a couple of bets I like in this game, but I don't like a side. I don't love the total either way, although I guess in this spot I'd lean over 5.5 because we have seen Anaheim score at times. The weaker goalie is in net tonight for the Boston Bruins, and that's Linus Ullmark after Jeremy Swayman's got it going right now for the Boston Bruins. It's been a great stretch of hockey for him in net. He was very solid, steady. It helps when your team gives you a quick lead, early lead like that. Like they did last night, but Swayman has been very good lately for Boston, which has been good to see. That was just you knew LA was going to be in trouble when you could tell right away with that first goal that Jake DeBrusk scored, which made me happy actually, because I had plus 265 on him to score a goal, and you got to bet him again tonight. I mean, as simple as that. I mean, they're showcasing him. They're giving him Marchand and Bergeron as line mates. They're giving him an opportunity to showcase his talent before the deadline. I mean, you just keep going with Jake DeBrusk as far as I'm concerned to score a goal here. So that's absolutely a prop that I'm looking at here in this game. But I do think on the flip side, I might look at a Ducks team total over here. It's only 2.5. And again, I like dealing with these 2.5s and plus spots like Anaheim's got to the rested team. You've got the weaker goalie. You've got a Boston team that's feeling pretty damn good about their game after clobbering LA, a red hot Kings team last night. I could see this being a night where it's a little more difficult on them. Anaheim getting the 3 goals, I think, is very possible. And I like the spot where they got shut out by the Islanders. They got blanked. Sorokin was actually very good Sunday night against the Ducks. I think the Ducks bounce back offensively. You still got Henrique and Terry and Zegras, and you've got Raquel, who's played well lately offensively for the Ducks. You've still got players that can find the back of the net against maybe a tired team on the second of back-to-backs on the road here. So Ducks team total, I like that. I don't know if they win the game. Don't know if I trust them to win the game, but I think there's things that set up for them to score at least 3 goals tonight in this game. And I like DeBrusk to score in this one as well. And if I had to lean side or total full game, I'd probably lean over 5.5. Andrew, Boston, Anaheim.
Yeah, I was pumped to ride the train with the Bruins yesterday, but as the road trip continues and after getting a touchdown plus the extra point yesterday, I'm ready to kind of look towards not the dog, but I think the Ducks can score, and I think the Bruins keep it up themselves. And seeing a 5.5 at the end of a road trip, something I always like to look for. So I'm on the over 5.5 here. I think both teams contribute, and we can get to at least 6 goals. Also, shout out to Jake DeBrusk. I mean, We've talked about this with Jimmy quite a bit.
Patrick last night.
It's just, honestly, this is the stuff that I love about sports. This is just it's awesome. There's always a game within a game, and there's certain times you just see someone step up and have a big game, and it almost makes you laugh because, what a time for him to be kind of showing himself, Jimmy?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's getting to a point now where I don't know if the Bruins are going to trade him. I mean, they got to do it now or never, because his value is probably not going to get as high as it is right now. Yep. But then I think maybe they're looking at it. You look at, they're on a win streak. The team is finally gelled. He looks like that right winger that top line has been missing. Maybe you just let him continue to raise his value for the offseason and just ride it as long as it goes. So we'll see if they trade him over the next few weeks. But just a correction, just so you know, Andrew, they got 2 more games on this road trip.
Did I say last game? My bad.
Yeah. They're playing in Vegas on Thursday and Columbus on Saturday. This is a 6-gamer. But I'm going to stay away from the side just because of back-to-back nights. Bruins are feeling really good about themselves right now. I could see Anaheim maybe sneaking one by them here. But what I will jump on, like Andrew, is that over. I mean, 5.5, I'll take that. And I'll also take the over in the first period. So give me those 2 overs right there. And I'll ride the DeBrusk train. I'm with you, Ian. Get on that DeBrusk train again.
All right, very good.
What's he paying to even get a point, guys? Even for him to get a point's probably not even bad odds.
I mean, I'm looking at plus 300 to get a goal still. I mean, that's insane.
Amazing. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. I'm trying to see if his
plus 106 for a point. So it's even money, basically.
That's pretty nuts for a guy that just had a Hattie.
He's got a 5-game point streak going.
Yep. And that's a great price. That's still a great price considering, 5 straight with a point. Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I mean, you're looking at Brad Marchand, who's only been back for 2-3 games, and For him to get a point, it's minus 209. Or excuse me. Excuse me. Wait a minute. No, sorry. For him to get a point, it's minus 401.
Yep.
So, I mean, I don't understand the math there. I get it's Brad Marchand. I know who he is. But, I mean, if you're talking about who's in better form right now, Jake DeBrusk is the hottest Bruin, hands down.
Yep. I agree with that a lot, Jimmy. I mean, he's got it going. They're putting him in a position to succeed too. Like they're elevating him right up to the top line as well. That's made a huge impact too on his ability to all of a sudden get productive and all of a sudden hotter than a pistol right now, because they're giving him the minutes, they're giving him the top line, they're giving him those power play looks, all of that. So yeah, this is just, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Robert says plus 325. At MGM to score for Jake DeBrusk. Wow. So it's just hard to resist that kind of price that's being offered. There's no question about that. And certainly to score a point, very reasonable too. So we'll see if the Jake DeBrusk train rolls on tonight for the Boston Bruins. And by the way, Jack Edwards was up to his old tricks last night during the fight with Lemieux and Frederick. I mean, do we have to make it sound like the opposing player is always getting his brains beat in every fight, which couldn't be further from the truth? I mean, talk about over-exaggerating the description of the fight. Jack does this all the time. It's making it sound like, oh, Frederick, he's killing him. He's just wailing on him. And it's like he's barely grazing him, and he's missing him with a lot of those punches, guy. Like, are you watching the fight? Are you actually watching what is happening during
if fight? You watch a Warriors game in the NBA, like Steph Curry could hit like a finger roll layup, and they'd be like, off the glass. What a nice, you don't see any layups like that anywhere else. Like, it's hilarious. I mean, it's just homers being homers. It's the job. It's what they get paid to do.
You know what I think he gets into the sauce in the late night games too, because I heard him doing the ads during the break. This is brought to you by BMW. BMW.
You know he's in the studio, right? He's in Neston. He's not on the road.
He's in the studio back in Nesson. Yeah.
Did you guys see? Was it? Yeah, it was last Thursday, the first game of the trip, when they had a fire alarm in the Nesson studio, and they had to leave. And all of a sudden they cut to the opposing broadcast, and it was like, what is going on here? And then I see them tweeting about it. It's just
so, Jimmy, what's the reason for that? Like, is that going to go back to normal when, like,
you would think
restrictions settle down?
It was originally for COVID, but I think now it's just I can vouch for it, and I don't care. I'll say it because I'll probably never get hired by them again. Nesson is one of the cheapest networks and companies out there, and I think when they realized the money they could save after keeping them home during COVID, I don't see them going on the road, at least for the rest of this season.
Yeah. And a lot of junior people I know that do journalism for junior teams around here. It's the same thing. Like, they're not sending their play-by-play guy. Yeah. They're just subcontracting someone locally.
It's because they're saving money.
Yeah, interesting.
They do that. But it's not the same. It's not the same as when they're there. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah. No, it's definitely it's always, I'll tell you what, in a weird way, there's things that I'm like, what are you doing, Jack? And then at the same time, he does make me laugh and kind of entertains me in a sick way. I got to admit sometimes.
Go find the clip of when the Bruins beat the Canadiens in 2011 in Game 7. I think it was double overtime. Nathan Horton scored.
Yeah.
Find that. Find his monologue.
Yeah, he rips their heart out and puts the dagger through the heart or something like that.
But he reckoned back to the Revolutionary War and made the Canadians were the redcoats, British in the war.
That's a typical Jack. Yeah, that's like, wow. Yeah, that's getting a little too into it. But it's just, no, seriously. You listen to Jack Edwards calling a fight involving a Bruins player, 9 times out of 10, if you're not watching the game, if you're not watching the fight, you're just listening to Jack describe the fight, you would always come away from it thinking the opposing player's got a black eye, a busted jaw, missing teeth, and he's got to go to the hospital, and his brains have been beat in and are all over the ice. That's how he makes it sound like, he's just, and another one. And he's just beating him, and he's just beating him. He's using his face.
If you were listening on the radio,
he said that one a bunch too. Yeah.
Imagine if you were listening on the radio.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like, he really must be beating the shit out of him. Then you actually watch the fights like, what?
Well, I was talking with Renzi actually about that the other day. A lot of times, like, I used to, I go home a lot now. I live like 2 hours away from like where I used to live, as I told you guys. And so driving home, I would, toss on a game or something like that. To me, that's the best way of passing time. Like sometimes even, music's fun, but listening to a commentator and stuff. But these days, whether it's hoops or pucks, I mean, every single time a team enters the O zone, you think that's going to be a McDavid highlight reel goal of the century. And like they're doing their job, but like, I don't know. I used to do play-by-play, and I'll tell you what, when it was an awesome play, I used to really make people know that play was different than the other plays. But now the voice of these commentators, it's like every single play is the play of the year candidate,
Yep. No, it is. It's we get certain people more than others get a little carried away when they're in the booth. And, you're right. Just getting into the offensive zone and they go a little bit wild and crazy. And
the best is when Brickley tries to calm them down.
Yeah.
And he tries to reel him in.
Yeah. And he reeled him in. Although I did appreciate listening to their running over the turkey story that they said in the third period last night on the road trip in 2008 to Montreal for that Game 7. That was pretty funny. I will say that they slammed into apparently a turkey on the road driving up to Montreal. So that's a nice little story there from Jack and Brick in the third period. They're trying to fill the time. It's a 7-0 blowout. So
I'll tell you a quick one here. I know we're running late here, but just quickly, one time where I think it must have been the 2009. Yeah, it was when the Bruins swept the Canadiens in 2009. And we're up in a press box. And at the time, I was doing a radio, like I was on a weekly radio show with Connor McKenna of TSN 690, and we did a show on Sirius XM. So he's my co-host. So I'm sitting with, I'm working for Nesson though too at the time. So I'm sitting with Jack and Brick, and then Connor's over to the left of us, and like something happened, and Jack, it wasn't a Nesson game, so Jack was just sitting there watching, and he didn't have to broadcast. It was like, the national network picked it up. And so Jack starts, cheering and getting into it, and he's throwing his chair down when there's a bad call. And McKenna looks over and he's like, dude, could you just act like a professional for once? And Jack goes, what did you say? And he goes, what the fuck did you just say to me? And he gets over and he gets up in Jack's face. And I had to literally, Brick and I are pulling him away from Connor. He wanted to fight Connor in the press box. It was hilarious.
Wow. So Jack, it always sounds like Jack's ready to fight someone with some of his remarks. I guess he literally will throw down if he has to. Wow.
Oh my God, what is going on here, man?
And to think that guy was an ESPN Sports Center anchor in the 90s, and he was so calm and, pretty low key back then. Things have changed a little bit for old Uncle Jack since then. Great story, by the way. That's hilarious, and somehow I'm not shocked to hear about it. Great stuff with Jimmy and Andrew. That is the Tuesday card. Great show, and we're not done yet today. We've got the BetCast tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you join us for that. We got 9 games. Looking forward to it. A busy night. Always great when you can do a BetCast on a busy night like this. So looking forward to seeing all the games take place. Again, DM any one of us if you want to join us during the BetCast tonight. 7 p.m. Eastern we'll be here. And who knows how late we'll go. I know some nights we'll only go for the early games. We'll see how I'm feeling. If Ian's still got the stamina and the energy at 10:30, 11 o'clock Eastern, maybe we'll stick around for all the late games too. We'll see. Play it by ear. But we'll definitely be with you for at least 3 hours tonight for sure. On the BetCast tonight.
I'm planning to run the late games too. I'll be home around probably 8 o'clock Eastern, maybe something like that, and then I'll be around for the later games as well. So,
all right, good stuff. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to best bets too to wrap up this Tuesday edition of the Ice Guys. Andrew, we'll start with you. What do you like for best bet?
Yeah, cash with the Bruins last night. Let's go for a total in the game they're in with the over 5.5.
All right, there we go. Boston, Anaheim. Last game we talked about, over 5.5. Best bet for Andrew. Jimmy, best bet.
I fell short on Marchand last night, but I'm going to do another prop tonight. Give me that Petrie to register a point at plus 300.
All right, plus 300. Jeff Petrie to score a point against Winnipeg tonight for the Montreal Canadiens. Best bet for Jimmy in this one. My best bet for this card, by the way, I forgot to do the cam, the best bet cam. There we go. Best bet for me is going to be, I'm going to go back to the same bet, not last night, not the New Jersey team total, but I'm going to go full game over 6.5. I like the New Jersey team total as well, but I'll go full game over 6.5, minus 125 with the Devils and the Blue Jackets. I think we'll see plenty of goals there. I almost went player prop with the best bet today as well. I considered Jesper Bratt to score again. I considered Hughes over 1.5 points at plus 200 price because he's gotten to 2 points or more in 4 straight games, but decided we'll go with that over 6.5 with New Jersey and Columbus for best bet. Dog of the day, if I had to pick one, Andrew's team. If I had to pick one, my favorite dog of the day, since that's become a thing here on this show, Montreal Canadiens, plus 190. Took them against Ottawa. I think I had them before that as well, the game before that, but definitely took them against Ottawa Saturday night. Going to ride him again. It's just a great price for a team that, again, the betting markets are slow to adjust to, the improvement in this team the last 5 games, the win streak under St. Louis. So if I were to, that is absolutely, when I look at this card, the dog that I like the most.
And like Jimmy said, if you can find a book out there that offers you a bet that says, will there be a 5-minute major handed out? This is a good night to do it. There's actually some books that offer that. I remember, guys, my first ever time in my life in Montreal when I was younger, they had this thing called Messager. I don't know. Messager. I don't.
Yeah.
Messager. Yeah.
It's like,
it's like Proline. It's like Proline in Ontario and
I used
Nova
to play
Scotia.
that all the time.
Yeah.
And I actually went to a Habs game with my father, and I bet on the Habs, and I parlayed it with, will there be a 5-minute major? And it cashed.
Nice.
And my dad knows nothing about betting, and he was laughing his ass off when I went to the corner store the next day to collect my money. They don't really make those betting options around as much anymore. But I wish Joel Edmondson was a part of the game tonight, because I remember really clearly, like, the words he said, pretty much like, we won't forget this. And I think Edmondson's going to play in the next game. So that's too bad, because I'd love to see it, because he's a great leader,
Yeah.
Detroit and Minnesota would be the next 2 dogs in line in terms of preference tonight, but definitely Montreal would be the favorite underdog for me tonight in this game. Great stuff. That is the Tuesday show. It went a little longer, but that's all right. We had lots of great stories, lots of great discussion. We got plenty more discussion tonight during our live betcast, 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you in just a little over 3 hours from now for the start of that, as we live betting, live commentary, bring your favorite drinks, booze, adult beverages, libations, whatever you got. Bring those with you as well on the betcast tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. Looking forward to that. For Andrew McInnis and Jimmy Murphy, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. Although we hope to see you again in just 3 hours from now with the Ice Guys betcast presented by the Hockey Podcast Network. We'll see you later tonight.